I do find doing poetry, it's because I'm very freeing, because I do put a bit of structure on there, but it's almost, I don't say it's like jazzy, but you can change the rhythm halfway through, and it's all right.
Yeah, because that might be a different voice.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Taking it with a different voice, different perspective.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I guess writing rather than music, it has a different reach, doesn't it? Although we're always, I don't know, I guess I come from a place where I'm always listening for the lyrics in the music. So if I'm listening to a song, the words are really important. I don't know whether that's just because I've ended up being a words person, or but poetry will have a different reach to the music.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess it's the classic question of who do you write for? But when you're writing, who are you speaking for to? Is there a sense of particular audience?
Well, but basically, it's there's two audiences. There's there's the audience that is familiar with the topics, and there's the audience that isn't familiar with the topics. So for instance, I think, like, the hustlers and the hustler at the party, with the one about Wesley Snipes. So that one is like, okay, the thing about, are you Idris Elba today? Are you Harold from the Halifax adverts? That's a thing that lots of black people can relate to. Like, or Bob Marley or Michael Jackson or whatever. There's that aspect. But it's a case of, like, but with something like that, there's that knowing look, like, okay, if you're black, you know that experience. But if you're not, then that poem might give you an insight into that experience. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it feels like.
See, and you've laughed about it. You laugh about it, go like, oh yeah.
Yeah. But it feels like part of the audience that kind of, in the kind of most accusatory dimension of this work, is that, what was the name of the woman? The lady Susan Hussey incident, that.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know, sometimes you read work and you think, oh, if this was reviewed, then it would be described as prescient. But it's not, it's just reflective of what's happening.
Yeah.
But was it the shooter poem?
Oh, yeah.
I just
True story.
thinking about the, what was she, a lady in waiting who said to the woman from Sister Space, where are you really from? That refrain, and it's there to me in these poems, as is George Floyd and all of those things as well. But it's not prescient. It's not predicting the future. It's talking about and reflecting now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because to me, it's very political work, even though it's. But what are you going to work on? What you said you've got a play. Has the play just been on?
No, I did it last year.
It? Oh, it's last year.
I did it last year, but I did film it, so I'm going to in the next few, maybe next month I'll put it online for people to see. Good fun. Yeah, I took some of these poems and weaved them together into a narrative, and the play was called My Name is Paul, because that's my middle name, and it's a character loosely based on my experiences of being a black father in the Northeast. So it's so I was, like, racially abused in the town centre, so that's in there, and the funny moments are in there as well, and so yeah, I mean, because there's little bits of seriousness and humor that might be like a line in one poem, and that you could expand upon that. So there's a poem in there, I think, called Taxi Driver.
Mm.
And it's basically, as a parent, you're just driving kids about, basically. You do. Just driving around, giving money. Driving around, giving money. And so the poem Taxi Driver is basically about that. It's like, okay, all I do is I drive around. And so I did that poem as part of the this play. My name is Paul. And so basically I was I was there on the stage, and I had the poem coming through the speakers, and I was just driving, and I was just throwing money about. throwing fake money about. It was great. And then and there's a line which you might have missed. Then I did the 5 years of anger in 500 words. And I said like my daughter about my daughter buying a library of books. She's dyslexic. She got the hang of reading. She hacked into my Amazon account, just bought a load of books. So what am I supposed to do with that? I can't go like, you can't do that. You can't go like, that's really bad, but hey, 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 I can't go like, ah. You go like, ah. So and now she's doing like, if she doesn't read so many words per day, she goes like, she doesn't feel right. I mean, because she got the hang of it now. She's like, it's their thing, and like she's doing law, which is just basically just reading loads. Remember, she was she was putting her, supporting statement together for university, and like, I read this statement, like, yeah, it's looking all right. And then she put down that her favorite book's War and Peace. I'm going like, and it is her favorite book, because she went like, oh yeah, I've done it, yeah. I'm going like, you really can't put that down because they won't believe you. You've got to be dyslexic, and your favorite book's War and Peace. I think you're taking the piss, right? No, so I said, you've got to change it to something else. She goes like, no. I said, look, hey, been a careers advisor for 30 years. Trust me. Yeah, all right then. So she changed that, and then she got it. So right, she then thanks me. I said, it's that little change. It's the little details. It's the little details.
So if you've got a film version, maybe we could screen it.
Yeah. I say, the guy who filmed it. He did it fully in HD and all that. And there's a little tweaks we want to make. But yeah, you should broadcast it. No problem.
So would you do more plays?
The next thing I'm working on, I am thinking that it will be a play first, and then it'll be a poetry collection, because I'm writing about growing up in a town, and like there's like of 10,000, and there's only like a handful of black people, but it's not. I want to do it because it's almost like when I'm writing it, it's almost like a social experiment, because there's no racism, right? So that it's nobody going like, oh yeah, you black, da 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 da. No, it's just like, oh, because there's so few of us, we stand out, and so everybody knows my business. But also because I'm a teenager, I'm trying to discover my own identity. So it's that aspect to it. So it's not a case of like, how do you create a black identity when you don't have that around you, and it's not it's not easily accessible in the media of the time in the 80s. So I remember when I moved to this particular town, they all thought I was American, even though I had a London accent. It's like, oh. So yeah, it's and then I'm also writing about black stereotypes and how I don't fit into any of them. So like, one of the things I'm writing about is that, black people are supposed to be good at sport. And like, one of the stories I'm writing is about, I was in cricket, first ball, I was out. Like I'm still there. It's wrong. It's gone. It's like, all right, that was it. First and last experience for cricket, gone. So yeah, I'm writing about stuff like that. So yeah.
Does anyone have any particular questions? More questions? Something you'd like to-
Well, I wanted to ask a question about that. Well, you mentioned that you lost your cousin when he was 18. If your cousin when he was 18, I guess.
Yeah.
And then there was a line in one of the other poems about your grandma. Will you remember me when I gone? So how do you define death as a poet?
How do I
Like how do you define death?
define death?
Yes, because well, in my country, poets are all poems basically are about like deep layers of life and stuff. So, and I was wondering, what do you think about that?
Well, sure. We are. There's that expression, isn't there? That you know, you only die when the last person you know no longer utters your name, right? And you're also your words that you leave behind. Yeah, your words and the influence that you have. So, you know, one of the things is that, you know, not only am I writing about my history, like what I observe, that's my legacy. So, you know, one day I won't be around. And so, but will my work still be have an effect? Yes. But and the thing is, you never know. You never know what words that you say will have an impact on somebody's life. You have no idea. So, for instance, when I was at college, there was this boy, yeah, you know, when he was 16, 17, called Kerry Wilson. I wrote a poem about him in my first collection. And he was skinny and he had blonde hair and glasses, and he'd come in and that, you know, sometimes see him, our class, we would do different subjects. So, you know, sometimes we did. And we'd play chess in the alcove. And then, you know, say, how's it going? Yeah, like, you know, it's all right. And then the sometimes weeks he'd go and I wouldn't see him. And then I'd see him and then I wouldn't see him. Then I hadn't seen him for ages. I said to somebody, anybody heard from Kerry? Kerry's dead. All right. I'm like, what? Turns out he had cystic fibrosis. Never told me, didn't tell me about it. And I went to his funeral. His mum said to me that I was his best friend. Right? Because we played chess and I just treated him like everybody else. Right? So, and at that time they didn't have the advances he have now. So like he would have known that, you know, he wasn't going to make it past 21, but he was doing A levels anyway. You know, so me just playing chess with him, just going, hey, all right, how's it going? Playing chess had a profound effect on him. So much so that, you know, when at his funeral, his mum's going like, oh, I've always wanted to meet you. You know, you were his best friend. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why I write the words that I do, because I have no idea what word, what sentence, what line could have an impact on somebody's life. Also, remember, as I said earlier, I've been a career advisor for years and years and years. So that all ties into it. I don't know what word, what sentence, what action can have an effect on somebody's life, could change the world. I don't know. But I do know that the words are down in a book, in books, people hear them, and after I'm gone, it's still about.
That's really interesting because that's sort of threaded through that plastic is better than metal
Yeah.
poem, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was sort of reading thinking, when is the punchline coming?
Yeah.
But partly that phrase, but also then the effect at the end
Yeah.
when those young people are being left behind, and
Yeah, yeah.
there has been an impact that
Yeah. But
there
you
hasn't been the
know,
shouting that
all the way through, you know, it's such a phrase. You know, we like you because we're not doing the stuff that we normally
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
How does it goes when you write poems? Like, poems come to you, just like you look around, just
Right.
you try to write poems.
What used to happen is that I get a snippet of an idea and I scribble it down because I was in a job or whatever. Now look at a piece of paper later and I go like, what did I write? No idea why I scribbled. But these days I'll get an idea, my snippet of an idea, and I'll send it a message to myself. And then you collect it all together and like sometimes you've got something. But what normally happens now is that I get a feeling, and it's like, oh, stuff's coming out,
Yeah.
stuff's coming out. And before, when I was, working in other jobs, I have to suppress it, and it might not come back or come out in a different form. It's not as good as like that initial. But now it's like because writing is what I do, I can indulge it because I know when it comes along, it's a wave and it goes up and you ride that wave and you've got to you've got to have everything lined up. You've got to have your pens lined up. You've got to get all your info lined up. You've got to get it down because that feeling is unique to that particular period of time. And then you're on that wave, and when it comes down, it's going down. And no matter what you do, you can't extend it because when it's done, it's done. And I'll look back at the work and I'll go like, who wrote that?
Yeah.
I have absolutely no idea because that particular headspace, I'm not there anymore.
That's why I was doing 2 o'clock last night.
So, and like, so some of these collections, so the collection, yeah, you're written in 2 weeks. But like at the end of it, I'm knackered, but I'm looking back and going like, but then it's like, editor's hats on. And then it's just like, okay, move things around and like, if you've got a table with 3 legs, it's a table with 3 legs. If you had a 4th leg, it'd be a proper table. Because at the end of the period, that when you got at the end of that wave, you look at what you've got, you go like, oh right, it's a table. I was going for a table there. It's nearly a table. All it's missing is with a leg, and it's done. But that wave, when you get it, you feel it. It's just like nothing you can do about it. You just go like, it's here, and now I have the luxury, and I call it a luxury because for many years before I did the course, etc., like I get these feelings like, oh, I have to push it down. But now it's case like, okay, I feel it. Like I remember, I was doing string theory, the one about male mental health. I went to see a comedian at the Arc, and he was talking in the encore. He was talking about his breakup with. Well, the whole show was about his breakup with his uh, partner, and she's also a comedian, so she did a show and it was all about him, and he did a show, it was all about her, even though they didn't mention each other's names. And his encore, he went on and on and on. It started off funny, but he went more he got into it, it sounded like a breakdown. It really did. I'm just going like, it's not funny. This is not funny. And then I left that, and then the next day I could feel it. I could feel the wave coming. Like, oh right, okay, because I've wanted to write about mental health for a long time, especially get the right words to express how I felt about my cousin committing suicide. This wave came along, it's like, okay, here it is. Cancel everything. I'm on this wave. Let's go. Let's ride it. Scribble, 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 scribble. This stuff at the end, like so, and then you have stuff and you just go like, which part of the brain did that come from? In fact, I will do one from that I haven't read, which is from that collection. And it is called No Queue Jumping. I wrote this because I said it's about my cousin suicide, and also I read that the Pope, current Pope, used to be a nightclub bouncer. So I wrote this one, No Queue Jumping. What did you go and do that for? A permanent solution to a temporary problem. I have very few rules. Be kind to others and no queue jumping. I don't want to see you before your mother, father, grand, and grandpa. I don't want to see you knocking on the door, begging to come in. I said, I'll see you when I want to see you. There is a reason why the Pope used to be a nightclub bouncer. What are you going to do that for? You're going to have people wondering if there was something they could have done, anything they could have done different. You're giving me work to do now. Reincarnation ain't easy. I'm going to have to slice up the memory of you, distribute it to all the people who loved you, cared for you, prayed for you. And when I send you back in some obscure form, your family and friends recognize in the face of your unborn cousins, remember these words. Feel free to shout them out anytime you feel bad. No queue jumping. It's like, God talking. It's like, because you're not really, people aren't supposed to pass away before their parents, are they? And like, but the wave was coming. I had to write, and that's what came out. I hadn't, if you say like, oh, write a collection about male mental health, couldn't do it. But that wave, and I don't know when the wave is coming. It's just like, or what it's going to be about. But the waves comes, I'm on it, ride it. And at the end, you've got a whole pile of stuff, and it's just like, right, okay, what is it? What is it about? And that's how, you know, quite a few of my last collections have been done. And sometimes it's just a case of like something will come into my head or something like, okay, and I'll just write about that. I'm inspired by just a one-off thing. I'll write about that, stick it in a folder. Then you've got a collection. We've got a section of all these poems about death, all these poems about relationships, all these poems about then you can go like, right, time to put a collection together. I haven't done one for a while. What have I got? Oh, I've got 80 poems. Right, okay. I've got some about death. I've got some about life. I've got some about war. Is there any way of connecting them together? Is there a case of like, okay, is there something to join? Is there subject matter that encapsulates the whole thing? It might be then a case of like, I've got a narrative. I might just do some linking poems. So, but yeah, it is a case of the wave. But what I'm doing now, it's the wave is coming, and I know it's coming, and I know when it's going to end as well, because I'm writing about when I was a teenager in this town with like 10,000 people and only two families that look like me, and I know when it's going to end because it's going to end on my friend's birthday, 10th of July, and there was always exams around his birthday, so I know that wave's coming, and I'm pretty sure 10th of July it'll end. It'll be his birthday, and we'll be like, yeah. So whatever I had in that time, from now till 10th of July, will be the next collection. So now I'll probably come back and go like, hey, what do you reckon of this?
That would be great. I think we probably need to draw to an end too. More people waiting at home for me to say goodnight to.
Well, I hope that was all right for you.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure to hear you and being really generous with time and so on.
Did I cover the ones you wanted? I think there's one I missed out.
I think there was one you missed out. Do you want to do it for us
Right, which one is it?
finish? it's sunshine by any means necessary.
Now, the reason why I'm going is because that one is about my friend who was from that particular town I was in, and she had pancreatic cancer, and she had 6 months to live. And so I wrote that about her. And in fact, I then went on to write another collection inspired by her called Last Song in the Universe, which is all about coping with terminal illness. Right, I'm trying to find it now. Oh yeah. Yeah, right. Okay. I am too much, she says. I laugh too loud. Care as if I've always been there. Leave a little for others to do. Those who signed up early, I yell, I am risk averse. Spirits curse me down. Be terse with your actions and language. How could you forget? I once knew someone who died of a broken heart. I'll give you the truth. In my dreams, I stand guard, Malcolm X style, no guns. Curtains closed, just pose. Like I can make a difference, like I am enough. Like I've got a one-way connection with God, even though I don't believe. I curse his name for giving me gifts I can't use. Time, I have it. She hasn't. She's done nothing wrong, and I've taken risks that by rights shouldn't have paid off. God, if you're listening, you know I once knew someone who died of a broken heart. So, if that is possible, then my oldest friend can live longer, even beat an incurable disease by being blasted with positive words, deeds, actions. No more flowers, she chuckles. Geraniums, roses, once time to open when the others fade. She has forgotten the hay fever of our youth. No more, she laughs. I bombard by any means necessary, because I don't do reads. Nobody goes out with a fight without a fight on my watch. My eyes are running in winter. Our summer times will be forever. I cry too much. So yeah, she's like I say, there's another thing you say about like you don't know the effect of your word. So like she had 6 months to live. She wanted to make it to her daughter's graduation, which was 2 years away. And she was short by like a month. So like I say, you don't know the power of your words. You don't know when. So so for her, I wrote that poem about her. And also the thing about that poem, it is 95% true because there's two extremes there. There's this person I'm writing about who got an incurable disease and wants to, can she beat it? Can she live longer? She beat it for a time because she was only supposed to have like, less than 6 months. She lasted nearly 2 years. On the other hand, there's a person in the story who like died of a broken heart. And it's true. My wife had a friend who I as I knew her as well, and she died of a broken heart. She was seeing a guy, and they broke up, and she just faded, and you know, cause of death. Literally, there was nothing. She wasn't had another cold or like no disease or anything. She just literally died of a broken heart. The guy weren't that great. I know the guy, not that much these days, but he wasn't. He was not that special. You know what I mean? So those are the two extremes there. And this is about the power of words, right? Now I was always supposed to be a writer because when I was at, because I've always kept a diary for years and years. I kept a diary, and I was going like, I don't know why I'm doing this. You just sometimes just do things go naturally, just go your intuition. So I kept a diary. So when I found out, when my friend got back in touch with me after years and years and years, and she's going like, oh yeah, haven't been very well. I compiled my diaries from like when I knew her, right? And I compiled it all together and I sent it to her, right? And it was one of the things that kept her going because it made her laugh because it reminded her about all the fun times that we had, you know. So like Anna dated Anna 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 date Anna, you know, whatever. I added bits to it, like, you know, so like, you know, but looking at it from like now, it's like, oh yeah, we were 16 then and 17 then. Oh, what an arse I was, you know, all that sort of stuff. And you know, those words, you know, her husband said that she's normally a chatterbox, right? But when she was reading that book, like the diary I sent her, it said like she didn't say she was quiet. And he thought there was something wrong, and then he just hear the occasional like hysterical laughter. So you know, that's the power of words. That's the power of words. That's it.